What is up, Bitcoin Radio? It is your man, Joe Blackburn. Today is a very intriguing, exciting, and interesting conversation that you're about to be part of. You're about to hear, you're about to be able to comment and let me know what I said wrong because it might get a little tasty. No, this is one of those hot topic kind of conversations that, a lot of people avoid. And today I'm going to have who I consider somebody who's been really involved on the political scene throughout. And I mean, I'm going to say this coming up election, and he'll be able to go into a little bit more detail. But Ryan Tanaka, and he's from YIMBY Arts, and he's got just this really interesting perspective on what crypto, blockchain, and the future of these things are going to do for the world, and specifically here in the United States. And as we get started, and before I bring him on, obviously he's somebody who I've been following, or I will have him on. I've been paying attention to his work for some time now, but he's taken a really large, interest in the Andrew Yang campaign, the Yang Gang. And although he is not officially part of the Andrew Yang team, I know he's been a faithful and loyal fan of Andrew Yang's and a follower of that campaign. But I do know that he's unaffiliated for a fact, and I'm sure he'll go into a little bit more detail about his position. But I thought the conversation was going to be exceptionally exciting for the crypto space for a few different reasons. And I'll start with number one. And I don't want to get too deep into my, I guess just the way that I want to structure this conversation tonight. But first thing that excites me is that I've watched people from all over crypto hear about Andrew Yang. There's a politician who's talking about blockchain, and it's unified a very separated group of people in a lot of ways outside of blockchain. And I felt like, from the very beginning, Bitcoin was always that great unifier when it came to people of different political spectrums. But, blockchain it's blossomed into what we consider blockchain. And, there's finally, we have a politician who's taking this seriously. And I want to make this very clear. This is not a political endorsement on my side. I'm not saying this is who I like. I appreciate, if anything else, just the marketing aspect from a politician saying blockchain's real. Someone who gets it, someone who sees the future. And, that part is important. It's at least starting the conversation. So as I bring Ryan on, and as Ryan introduces himself, I'm sure, like I noted earlier, he'll have a lot to say about, his affiliations and his volunteer work and whatnot. But I think it's really cool also because as Ryan just, informed me, that all the work that he's been able to do has been financed by his crypto income. And I just think it's incredible. So I'll let him get into all these details. And I'll of course, want to make sure that he gets a chance to introduce himself. But please, folks, remember, this is not to be divisive. We're not here sitting here trying to make you choose one thing or the next. I have a lot of really conservative, financial perspectives, but I also have some very progressive, ideology. If you ask people in the South, they'll tell you I'm a liberal. If you ask people in California, they'll tell me I'm a huge redneck, Republican, and neither one of them is true, right? It's ridiculous. It's crazy, unfortunately, how they want to buy it up. But I do like to be very open and have these conversations tonight. So anyways, tonight we're going to welcome Ryan. I don't want to wait too much longer. I want to get him on. I know he's got his own things that he's got. And I also know that he's live streaming this before I'm live streaming it. So let me get him on before I waste any more time. What's going on, Ryan? Welcome to WBTC.
Hey, thanks for having me on, Joe. I've been following your work as well for a while. You really did create a real community around the whole Bitcoin thing. I'm sure that wasn't easy either.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Like you said, I'm here. I do a lot of different things. So like my project, YIMBY Arts, is actually about housing politics. And that's actually what started the whole thing. But like you mentioned, I made a little bit of money in 2017, and that is what's giving me the time to do this stuff, because I'm trying to kind of move my career more towards like the political side right now. So it gave me kind of time to, honestly, I'll be real honest. Like I've been a musician for a long time, and I was pretty much broke pretty much my whole life. And then crypto came along, and I'm like, whoa, holy crap, I have savings now. Wow, and so
Absolutely.
that really was like life-changing for me. And so I believe in crypto in more ways than one. And But kind of the theme, I think, and I don't want to like push for Andrew Yang too hard here. I know this is.
Well, I mean, you're a huge supporter. I mean, it's not going to surprise
I'm a supporter.
anybody.
I'm gonna
say as a
say
Yang gang member.
Yeah. I want to, but I do want to keep the conversation relevant to, crypto because,
No,
yeah, but kind of the, I think the overall theme, right? That what crypto and the housing stuff I do and Andrew Yang's campaign have in common is that we are in the business of trying to solve problems, right? And really, crypto is a technology that a lot of us feel will solve a lot of the big problems in the society right now. But man, do they not? They're so hostile to it, And yeah, we were talking about earlier. Yeah, we were talking about earlier how I got my dad into crypto, and he was really obsessed about it for a couple months. He was calling me every day, like, "Oh, what coin should I buy? What could?" And then they just banned it. Like he had to
That's
literally.
Right. He was in Hawaii, right?
He was in Hawaii, and you can't even like if you have a Coinbase account in Hawaii, you can't even use it anymore. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like,
it is. Well, hold on. Let's take a step back real quick, Ryan, because of course, we have a lot that we're going to cover tonight, and I'm excited about those things. And your journey into who you are, I think it speaks a lot about your motivations on what you're doing and why you're doing it. I mean, I'm very respectful of those. I think that you've handled yourself, especially on the internet. And for those of you who don't know, Ryan, and I'm gonna let you plug yourself here in a little bit, Ryan, but Ryan streams all his political work every single time, full transparency for the most part. When he gets down and he starts working, I mean, he's streaming the whole time. People are interacting with him. He's got a Twitch channel. And, if you're interested in following that and just watching him, I think it'd be well worth your time, at least just to kind of get a perspective on what he's doing. And he's volunteering. This is his own time. And in so many different ways, he does things, for the greater good. Now, taking a step back, Ryan, you're somebody who, as I said in the introduction, following, I've been we don't always agree on every topic, and we've always managed to be exceptionally respectful and aware of each other's personal feelings towards maybe a topic or next, but we've always been able to remain not just reasonable, we've been able to remain pleasant and maintain I guess a internet friendship to one extent or the next, although we've never met in person. I feel like I if I did, I would already know you. I mean, you put yourself out there, and you're a really sensible person, and you're a connector, you're a unifier, and I've always appreciated that about you, man.
Oh, thank you. No, I mean, that means a lot. I try, I feel like the internet, just in general, tends to reward partisanship and divisive behaviors. Just because it's like that's why we have clickbait, fake news. And if you're being honest, the platforms like really they want that, because it gets clicks and there's not
super really, engagement.
Yeah, that's how they measure engagement. Unfortunately, the amount of people like really.
And so what does that encourage influencers to do?
What's that?
It encourages influencers to play that game too. I mean, I have to play it all the time. I mean, you say things that are outlandish.
I know. I hate it. but like when you kind of tie it back into crypto, that's part of the reason why I bought into it, because I thought, hey man, if we use this thing and give people incentives to be good people on the internet, that could really change that, because right now everything is free, no one really gives a crap, right? And it's just
accountability is minimal.
Yeah, and if you get banned, you can just create another account and whatever. So
very true. Okay, so moving into where Yang and when Yang first came out, I mean, it was a big deal when Yang mentioned to the public that he was excited about blockchain. And that moment in time, I remember very specifically, like, wow, I mean, who is that? That's the first time I'd ever heard of Andrew Yang. I'd never heard of him until then. And it wasn't until someone shared a post, hey, look, there's a politician talking about blockchain. Little did I know he was then going to run for president. And, you know, although I'd only heard about him briefly, I probably couldn't have told you his name after I read the article. And it wasn't until he announced that he was going to be running for presidency, or he was considering running for presidency, that I was like, oh, that's the guy who was doing blockchain. So, you know, when that first happened, were you, how long ago did you realize that there was a connection between what Andrew Yang is doing and his appreciation for blockchain? Or what came first?
So it's a little weird because I'm involved in a lot of different things, but I would say that I became aware of Yang somewhere around maybe late April-ish. And man, kind of looking like back then, his campaign was literally a series of internet memes floating around on the internet, and a lot of it. If you look back then, oh man, I even have a picture here. Let me bring it up. If you look at it, it's kind of you're like, wow, this guy's running for president, really? Wow, you know, like a lot of the stuff you see on 4chan and all those stuffs are all there. This is a little presentation I made a while ago, but yeah, so this is just like a meme, you know, and this is what his campaign looked like back then, you know, and it's just like it's come a long way since then, but
just so for those of you who are listening tomorrow during the podcast, you make sure you got the video to be on there, or you check out the Orion's stream, and I'm sure it'll be on there as well. But I just wanted to let them know.
I've done housing politics for a couple years now, and I was, you know, I do follow what's going on in the housing space, and then so I thought, okay, I'll start paying attention to what the candidates are saying, and then I saw Yang's zoning policy, and YIMBY stands for yes in my backyard, right? And then we're always fighting NIMBYs, not in my backyard, right? Those folks, you know, NIMBYs.
Did that exist before you made it?
George Carlin said it back in the 70s, so it's been around a while.
Okay.
But
fair enough.
But he basically it's the type of people who have in their front yards, you know, they'll have like a little sign that says Black Lives Matter, and right next to that sign there'll be a thing opposing apartment complexes, because they don't, you know, they don't want those people living near them, you know. So it's like a contradiction, and we're always fighting it all the time. But so I appreciated him on that level, and that's what got me interested. But then at the same time, you know, I'm a crypto guy, and I'm like, okay, what does Andrew Yang think about crypto? And I find out that he actually knows what it is, for one, which is already a huge thing for us. We're really desperate. Like, if I'm being honest, we're really desperate for people to acknowledge that we exist, you know?
Absolutely. Huge credibility. Like, I mean, I remember just a mention of it in the news back in 2016 or 17 would just blow
I get
up
so excited,
Bitcoin.
Right? Like, well, we gotta mention it. Yeah, we got to mention in the New York Times. No way, you know, in a little tiny article.
It didn't matter. It didn't matter because it was somebody getting arrested for, you know, for fraud of some sort. It was just
it's fine, whatever. Something's better than nothing, right?
To your point, though, I mean, you know, to hear that it was absolutely no matter what, you know, back in the day, and it still is. Especially, it's the same thing for me when I hear politicians doing it.
Yeah, but so. I agree with him. It's kind of uncanny how much I agree with it, and so that's never happened before. You know, like with all the other candidates in the race right now, I'm like, okay, I like one or two things about you, but the rest I can do without. You know, this is the first time there's a candidate that is kind of the other way. I know I agree with you on most things, and you know, maybe some things I don't, but I can live with that. So So he's great in housing. He's great in crypto because he knows what it is, and the way like he tweets about I remember a while ago he tweeted about his opinion on Libra coin. You know, like most other people are like, "What is that?" You know, they don't even
scared to even mention it.
Yeah, because it kind of like, I don't know, it makes
publicly it doesn't. Yeah, publicly it can cause some. I mean, he's trying to run for president. You can't not play the game. You have to play the politician's game to move into the politician's game. You know.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
it is what it is.
Those problems are more pronounced, and I know this just from doing politics, but it's more of a problem internally. So if you're part of the establishment and you want a career in politics, you got to be really careful. You know.
Absolutely.
Yang doesn't give a crap. So, you know, he could take it or leave it, right? And so that gives him the little bit of a freedom to
Yeah, actually, I saw what he
yeah.
said. I guess it was today or yesterday that he was like, you know, MSNBC wanted us to do this or something. He's like, and they don't think that we need them, and we don't, you know, or something along those lines.
Yeah.
And I just like the way that he was, you know, he's so bold in that effort. And regardless of win or lose, which I know that's not necessarily how you feel, I just like the discussion being public that way, you know, and it really, really kind of inspires me to think that there's a lot of people like me and you, Ryan, who may or may not agree on certain subjects, but we find some, you know, some the diversity is beautiful when it comes to these types of people that are unifying us. And you know, I'll even want to, we'll briefly hit on this part real quick too, and that is, you know, as Andrew Yang's stance is, obviously we know the blockchain, but one of the things that I have in the past really disagreed with Andrew Yang on is, you know, that universal basic income. And the reason why I disagree with it is not because I can't see that we ever will do something along that way. We already do something like that, and it's called Social Security. But there's also, you know, a little thing called what is it like today and what's the future going to be like? And it's really hard to see what the future is going to be. And knowing what I know, and knowing I know we'll continue to move forward, pending we don't have EMP that drops over everywhere in the whole world, you know, it's only going to become more technologically dependent. It's only going to become more automated. It's only going to become less and less human needed to be involved in more and more computers and AI and AR that's going to surround our lives and make it easier. And we're in this age of luxury rather than this age of survival these days, or at least for a lot of people. And that's not true for everybody around the world, obviously, and not even in the United States. But for the most part, it's a luxury to live in the United States for most people because everything is so much easier. Now, that being said, I had an epiphany moment. And that is, you know, I'm sitting here complaining about, you know, potentially not agreeing with, you know, Andrew Yang, and given I'm not an expert in this area, so I don't want to pretend as if I am. But what does crypto do, and how does it reward people for staking? For example, you get additional of those tokens. And I'm sitting here thinking, if there's a way to stake, get reward for the government, and those rewards are then divvied out, almost like you're rewarded for saving money, government, and this is what's going to do, it's going to be passed back out to the people. There's a formula in there. Now, that's a very simplistic idea, but that's something I was like, wow, if there's a conservative approach and a progressive approach to both of these things, and they meet somewhere in the middle, holy shit, that could really make a big difference. Now, I'm not saying that's what Andrew Yang's talking about. I'm not even speaking for the Yang Gang in any way. I was just conceptualizing, is there a way for me to be okay with it, right? How would there be a formula? And there is. And through the reward system, in which either proof of work or proof of stake, I bet there's something there. And that's only person who can think about something along those lines right now would be Andrew Yang. And you can't tell me he hasn't thought about it deeper. Not you, because I know that you can tell me that. But I know he's thought very extensively about his programs. And I know he knows how much it costs. I know this guy's not an idiot, because just handing every adult $1,000 in cash every single month, you know, that's very hard to afford given, you know, decades, not just a year.
Sure. I mean, you're not actually, you know, but I do agree with you that it's important to have conversations between different perspectives, because like, honestly, like, even politically speaking, most of the things that actually pass in politics usually come through some kind of bipartisan compromise. You're going to hear different stories coming from the partisans, but
absolutely,
things that actually get passed and go through Congress is usually bipartisan, you know, and I would actually argue that the result, even though a lot of people would disagree, the end result is usually superior to the original. So, but your idea actually isn't that far off, because I remember I was just watching a interview. I think it was from earlier this year. I don't remember exactly when, but he was talking to two people and about social credits, you know, and how the government might be able to tokenize these social credits that the government is using and turn it into some kind of crypto system. You know, I don't know the details. We didn't really go in that deep, but it is definitely possible, and it is proof that he's actually thinking about these things. You know, and he's taking it seriously, right? So the other part is what I like about his platform is that is also coupled with the data as a property right policy that he wants to enact. So he wants to give every person more control over their private data. You know, right now, everything we do online pretty much goes to Facebook or YouTube or whoever you happen to be, and you don't know what they're doing with it. You know, you don't know where it goes. And so I do think that he's going to be fighting, and I believe him because, you know, he's a genuine guy, and he's going to be fighting for the rights of, the average consumer out there. But in order to do that in an era where everything is run by technology, we need someone who actually understands how it works. Because I've looked at the other proposals by other candidates, and it's just like, wow, do you know what a database is? you have to like go back and explain the basics, you know, and it like it's not that they're bad people. It's just like they just don't have the understanding of it, you know, and so that causes a lot of issues. That kind of wraps up why I support him in a nutshell, you know. And even if you disagree with certain things, he's also shown that he's willing to listen. Actually, his healthcare plan that recently he released a couple weeks ago, he got a lot of flack for it because it was a lot more conservative than he initially led people to believe. So it was very just nuts and bolts, very, very moderate. Here are some changes, but I actually think I actually like it better than his initial plan. So. Sure. Yeah.
Fair enough. And so let's kind of switch it off to a little more, maybe not about Andrew Yang, but let's talk about his supporters. And this is something I've spoken to you about and mentioned prior to our videos, that, you know, it seems like who is following the members of the Yang Gang, hashtag Yang Gang, that group is very uniquely diverse politically, not just in a sense of, you know, black or white, or, you know, I'm Asian and Mexican. No, I mean, talking about like literally the political spectrum in which surrounds Andrew Yang's campaign is full of conservatives and liberals and people who've been able to really find some traction in their youth. And it's a very young and a very energetic group. It reminds me a lot of, you know, of the people that I would hang out with in college or high school even, you know. I mean, it's just, there's no way to really identify them. And I think that's what is so, you know, incredibly interesting about the Yang campaign, is that this is a lot of what the future is going to look like in 20 years. There's a lot of people in part of this that are really taking interest in the political future of America, who are really free thinkers. They're tired of the bullshit. They're tired of being told that they have to think this way, and they really want something that's a little bit better. And it's the first, and I don't mean this as a Republican or a conservative. I mean this just from an outsider looking in. It's the first base of voters, or the first base of political activists I've watched that are taking a different approach in any party, not just the left or not the right. I mean, in any party, it seems like a very different breed of people that are really awake in a lot of ways. It's not to say that I'm endorsing Andrew Yang for everybody listening. I have my own issues with him, but I got to respect the guy, and I tremendously love the campaign that's following him, the people that are following him. So that being said, and, you know, obviously I'm speaking very highly about the people that I've gotten a chance, like myself, who have impressed me so much. What is the Yang Gang feeling about crypto? Is it a very similar concept to you? Are you an anomaly inside of this, or do you feel like a lot of the Bitcoiners and the crypto folks, they've come and followed Andrew Yang because of the interest? I mean, is it a combination? What would you say?
It's we have it's a hodgepodge of people, and it's hard to keep track of.
Hodgepodge.
Yeah, we like,
great word.
Okay,
great word.
Like we have like former Bernie supporters as well as former Trump supporters in the same camp, and then a lot of there are people like me who have a little bit of political experience. Most of us are completely new to politics itself, so that makes it a dynamic pretty interesting. There is a lot of techies in the Yang campaign. This has changed, but early on, most of his hardcore followers were software engineers. So there is a little bit of a tech bent there that, might make them a little bit more receptive to crypto topics. But I would say that, like, people who are Yang who are also interested in crypto is a subsection. So there's a few of us. Yeah. And I don't remember having long conversations about crypto with other Yang members, because this is what I like about the campaign. They are focused on winning the elections, and so they're like, okay, what does crypto have to do with Yang winning? Oh, well, maybe we might be able to raise money, but we had some trouble with that with the FEC laws. They're really like I said. I think a long time ago, I remember you asking, can we get a interview with Andrew Yang, and I asked one of the campaign staff there, and they're like, oh no, we're not allowed to talk about it. He is not allowed to talk about crypto in public, or he might get in trouble. Wow. I'm like, wow, really? Like, why so? I know, like, why are you so hostile? So yeah, so there's all these really, there's a lot of weird rules around it that we're having trouble getting over. But I will say that the Humanity Forward Fund, I believe, which is one of Yang's biggest PACs, they accept Bitcoin and Ethereum donations. So I've never seen that done anywhere else, So
fair. Yep. Well, okay, so, I grew up watching, Ron Paul, and he's been someone who I really appreciated over the years. And, I find a lot of the reasons why I became such a Ron Paul fan. And I find a lot of those same qualities inside the Yang campaign as well. And it's really taking care of other people around you and, providing for personal freedoms and liberties. And I don't want to pretend like, there's not some issues or clashing, perspectives, at least, where, libertarians will probably disagree with me. But, the world is going to change, and it's never going to be 2019 again, right? It's never going to go backwards technologically. And you'd mentioned on your Facebook, and you made a post about Andrew Yang being a technocrat, and what's wrong with that word? Why is that like a bad thing?
Yeah, well, I mean, one of my friends pointed out that the word technocrat is usually used as a pejorative against the Chinese government. So it's kind of a weird thing, right? Like we tend to think here in the States, we tend to think of the Chinese government as being a bunch of technocrats who really love the rules and does everything by these rules. So we paint them as being like soulless and cold, and like, of course, because we're not totally not like that. We're totally not like that in America. America #1, right? So the weird thing. The weird thing about it is that I think there's some people who kind of like took that slur, it really is a slur, and they apply it to whatever they don't like, and there's already kind of a there's already
I have not heard that before, just so
really okay. Well, this is mostly coming from the far left folks who are coming into my chat right now, posting about yeah, oh man, I just got another. They come into my stream all the time, and they just like post these anti-Yang talking points, and technocrat is one of them. They're like, oh man, Yang is this like tech industry billionaire that is ruining your life. That's the picture that they're trying to like associate with him, but he's not like that, man. Like, he's actually there's a lot of things that he's saying that goes against the interests of the tech industry, and that's
It almost
something
sounds
that
a little bit racist. You know, they're comparing Yang to the Chinese. Like, come on, dude, back
I
up.
know, it's really bad, and like I don't know, it's gonna backfire, you know, like all this stuff. Like I'm just gonna be really clear that even though I am support Yang, and I do consider myself, you know, mostly left and probably probably a Democrat. I'm gonna have to think about that
Sure.
after this year. But but um but I do think that if we don't elect Yang as a primary in the primaries, the Democrats are just gonna lose next year, like this year actually, because as bad as you know, like Trump's approval rating ain't great, but the Democratic Party is polling a lot worse, and uh, I do think that like people really want someone that are taking the problems that we're facing seriously, you know, and uh, I do think like he is the kind of the candidate right now that really speaks to that. And I don't know, I didn't watch debates this week, you know. I heard it was really bad. And I see the highlight. Yeah, and most people don't care, and they don't have a reason to care, you know. I just saw some of the highlights. I'm like, wow, really, that's the best we can do.
Let me ask you this: who hasn't already made up their mind? If you're a Bernie, or if you're a Elizabeth Warren or Joe Biden supporter, you've probably already made your mind. You know, there's a lot of people who haven't, and those people seem to be less interested in the debates than the big fanboys or the fangirls, right? Those are the people that are watching the debate and how well this person did. The other people, they just want someone to be representing them, you know, and what relatively represents America. And everybody's represented by different, you know, emotional, spiritual, and, you know, fiscal issues and problems that we all face. And, you know, nobody's going to be the same. And as you pointed out, this is the first candidate you've ever had that really feels like they represent you. And, you know, there's a lot of people who feel that way. Maybe, you know, women felt that way with Clinton last election, and among other things, maybe the same thing with this election. I mean, there's a reason why people are Democrats. There's a reason why people are Republicans, and it's all relative to what you find as normal or what you find as, you know, comforting. It's a really, really weird perspective how we can be so divided. But the unification, the great unifier, is oftentimes if we're all living under really great circumstances. It's like this, and I love using this example for sports fans. If you have a football team and all they do is win, do you care if two of them got in a fight in the locker room? No. I mean, if they're winning and they're just winning national championships or Super Bowls, you forget about the little things because there's so many great things happening. But the moment you start losing, then the fight that happened in the locker room, that's the reason why you lost. Oh, look at all the toxicity. Look at all this. Look how nasty it is. And I'm going to tell you, for a long time, America was winning Super Bowls every year. And now all of a sudden, over the last decade or two, we've been losing certain Super Bowls, or maybe not lost every year, but we've been losing in certain ways. And we're starting to see these huge like black eyes show up, and we're starting to point out, oh, this is it's that person's fault. This toxic environment is going to collapse over itself. And, you know, I look forward to a lot
of finger pointing. Yeah,
exactly right. And there's a unification coming, and often unifying comes after a great disaster. And, you know, whether it be, you know, hopefully, I don't want this to happen, but there is an economic crisis on the horizon. I'm not saying it's going to happen next year. I'm not saying it's going to happen in the next 5 years, but the growth and the sustainability of growth based off of the amount of printing that we've done with the actual fiat dollar, this is scaring me, and a level that our parents and our grandparents didn't have to worry about. I mean, think about this, and not Ryan, like you already know this, but I like to point this out to my listeners. If you have $1,000 and you save that $1,000, and maybe you're growing it, maybe you're even putting, you know, $100 a month in, and you continue, maybe you built it up to $10,000. By the time that you've gotten to that point, a decade and a half later, you know, how much money's been printed on top of your dollar to dilute the amount of money that you've spent. I mean, that you've saved. You're losing money by saving it in these days, people, and that's what scares me. is you cannot afford to simply stick $1,000 in the bank or in the account. That's going to do you no good. You have to literally invest in the stock market. And what if the stock market goes back down? You're in some trouble, especially if you got to retire that year, right? I mean, a lot of people got really screwed. And what did we see come out of the 2008 fiasco? 2009, January 3rd, Bitcoin birth. Not a coincidence.
No, you're exactly right. And there's a reason why people latch on to this. Is great because it allows me to type back into a lot of things. So, yeah. So there's a reason why after 2008, like the emerging technologies like crypto came about. The housing movement that I'm part of, YIMBY. That was born kind of around the same time. And then, that's kind of actually around the time when Andrew Yang, really got involved with the political stuff with his nonprofits as well. It's all happening all at once. And and the thing is, you're right, because we're experiencing massive inflations in things like healthcare, housing, and education. Those are the three big ones that Yang talks about all the time. But the reality is that if you've been working your ass off the last 10 years, and you'll see like in charts where the two things just kind of like, here's how much your money is worth, and it just splits apart, so you could be literally you are losing money just by existing right now, because the wages have not kept up with rents. So no matter how much money you make, and unless you're getting like these massive promotions or you made a ton of money in stocks, you haven't been keeping up, and so that's why like more than half of the American population cannot afford a $500 unexpected expense, where a lot of people are really living on the edge right now, and that's going to be a big problem. And the other thing, and then so I do think like right now in housing as well, we are back up to 2008 levels, right? So I mean, if you look at the housing prices chart in the last couple of years, you'll see that we're kind of back up to the 2008 level. But the problem is that people don't have money, right? Like in real terms, they don't have as much money as before. So I don't know. I'm with you. I think something's going to happen like in the near future.
Agreed. Yeah. And you gotta, and this is where I'll give Yang a ton of credit, is that he's foreseeing this, and he's not afraid to remind people, hey, look, it's everybody's fault, and he doesn't just blame on Trump or a certain economy that Bush created or Obama. He's just like, look, it's all of you have been a victim of being told things in some capacity or the next. Now, you can't deny that the stock market and investor confidence under Trump is at a incredibly high. I mean, it's just nonstop. It's because people believe that Trump not people. There are rich people who believe that Trump is going to continue to allow business to thrive by decreasing taxes. And this is the age-old debate between, trickle down or, higher taxes, et cetera. It can go on, and they're both right. Both parties can be right given the right circumstances. But I don't think either one of them are right all the time, and I don't think either one of them are wrong all the time. I do say this, though. That style needs an update. We need a 2.0, an American economy 2.0. And if we're going to continue to be leaders in tech and continue to be leaders, I can't even say in how we treat humans. I think that we're not the worst in the world, but we can be better than that, right? I mean, we're Americans. We are a exact combination of everybody. And so, and although I don't know enough about you to have significant comments, I absolutely believe that people deserve chances to be able to get involved. And I hate to see the way that people are so quick to react and judge others. And that goes for everybody. I mean, that's a bipartisan comment I'm making. I just want everybody to be less judgmental and less quick to react, because everybody's guilty of that, including myself and probably you too at times,
Oh yeah. Everyone. That's just part of being human, right? And but the thing is, like,
it's part of being on the internet. Shit.
Yeah. But see, like what I like about Yang and kind of the Yang gang is that they are willing to be honest about that and just kind of like, okay, I know I'm not perfect. Here it is. I'm not going to try to pretend I am, which is what a lot of other candidates do. You know, that there's a lot of, I'm not going to name any names, but you know, in the race right now, there's a lot of people who have this image of themselves that they really want to protect, and it just doesn't work. You know, like people get skeptical, and when I met Yang in person, he was the same guy he was in he was the same person. He was the same person in person that he was on TV, you know. And I was like, oh, okay, I really like that about you. You know, you're the same guy. I don't feel like I have to. Yeah, I don't feel like you're putting on a show right now for me, you know. And so, and that's the thing. Like, even if you disagree with, disagree with some of his ideas, I can still see he has shown that he is willing to change his mind based on new evidence. And that's kind of like, you know, you don't see that too often, you know, like most people, they, you know, they stick to what they believe in, and they're just like, no, it's my way or the highway, you know, but, you know,
you got to be consistent all the time.
Yeah, I guess
you're a flip flopper.
It's kind of it's a weird thing because our system really like incentivizes that, right? They're like, oh my God, I can't believe you changed your mind, you know, like you're such a weak leader, you know, and it puts like politicians in this weird space where they feel like they need to be consistent all the time, even when they're wrong, you know. And I don't know, it's insane. It's really insane. It's really insane because you would think that someone who's been doing politics for 30 years, 40 years, they would be above that. You know, they would figure it out by then. Or maybe they'll find maybe they'll realize that it's not productive, or, you know, this is why people don't like you, you know, but they just keep on doing it over and over and over. And like it, I gotta like,
so true.
I live in LA right now. And we have the worst homelessness crisis in the country, I would say. You know, we have thousands of people. I live right next to Skid Row. The homeless camps are getting bigger every year. It's very concerning. And then what do they do about it? They're like, hey, we should house them, and they say no. They don't bother. And they even made it illegal for you to sleep in your car now. So you get ticketed if the police catches you sleeping in your car. And it's really like, what? Like, why? Like, why are you going way out of your way to like make things worse? And I do think there's this toxicity in the political system right now that's really, I don't know, you know, like, how did they get there? Like, how did we get to this point, you know? And these are people who in person you would talk to them, and they're actually mostly very nice people, you know, on most of them on a personal level. But you catch them supporting these really, really awful laws, you know. And I don't know. I think like, just to not drive yourself crazy, you have to try to separate the people from the process, you know, because I don't know, especially when you're doing things in politics, you find out people are getting paid to do certain things. You know, even some of the people who come in my chat and like just leave annoying comments, they might be being paid. You know, there are people who like literally get paid to do that stuff, and
highly likely that's on both sides of the aisle for every candidate, except the ones that tend to be a lot more genuine or can't afford it yet.
Yeah. Oh man, having no money, having no money keeps you honest, man. but
isn't
like,
that the truth?
Yeah. But yeah. So there's
if all politicians were broke, we would have better politicians.
Yeah, I don't know. We could get in a discussion about that. Is it better for politicians to be rich or poor? Because on one hand, if you're rich, you're gonna take care of your rich buddies, and nothing's gonna change. But on the other hand, if you're poor, you're easily manipulated by money. So I
It's
don't
fair.
know.
It's the it is it's a catch-22, and like
Yeah.
poor people, can be great and successful given the right environments, but successful people
Mhm.
typically have risen up, and whether they came from nothing or something, they've been able to maintain a success in some capacity. So there's a lot that goes into that, but it's unfair judgment just to only base off of those things. But
Yeah.
anyways,
Yeah.
we'll
Yeah.
wind this down, Ryan. We'll wind it down a little bit. What do we miss,
Okay.
man? Anything you wanted to specifically?
So yeah, obviously I want Andrew Yang for you guys to like vote for him, but I'm here, since we're talking about crypto. Um, I do just kind of want to say, like, I've looked into his crypto ideas about cryptocurrency. I've looked up his ideas about data, and kind of the biggest strength. I say this all the time, but I do think crypto's actually probably the biggest application and the biggest good it can do in the world is really automating the government away.
Well said.
And I'm, like, we're all worried about, oh no, is technology going to automate our jobs, right? There's a lot of worry around that in some sectors, but really there's all these jobs that nobody wants to do in the government that could be automated. It's just like a series of accounting practices, all the bureaucratic nonsense that nobody wants to deal with. We could use technology to make the government more efficient. And this is something that I advocate all the time. And Yang is on board with that. And he's one of the few people who knows the bridge between tech and politics. And so, I think it's an exciting time for tech in particular, because this is their first time where they're being taken seriously in a political context. And I do think, win or lose, Yang has already changed the landscape, and I'm hoping that in the long run this will help with adoption in the crypto space, because we really need good regulations, man. We can't have Hawaii just banning it and be like, well, tough luck. I think that's going to set us back. That's already set us back like a couple of years already, just from that alone. It's going to take a long time to dig our way out of it. So yeah.
I can't disagree. Well, Ryan, well said. I appreciate your influence on what you're doing. I appreciate your willingness to come talk to me. Obviously, knowing that we don't agree on everything, but I love the way you respect and really get down to earth with every topic that we've had, and at least be sensible in your approach in the way that even if you disagree with me, I like, as I've been many times, you've been a rock star when it comes to bridging a gap of conversation that's been missing in a long time. And I think Andrew Yang's campaign speaks for that.
Yeah, I don't even know what we're disagreeing about, but I'm sure that'll come up.
We'll get there. Well, we haven't had time because we've been agreeing too much. So that's,
I know. No, let's have a more contentious debate next time. But no, I appreciate it. I appreciate you reaching out to me as well, because it helps a lot for you to say that, because I really like having civil disagreements is one of my favorite things, and.
Yep.
And we need more of that. And it's great that people like you are really trying to encourage that. So I respect that a lot as well. So
goes both ways. Oh, and that's part of the cryptoverse, man. We all got to do our part one way or the next. Or if we don't, it all will fall apart. And you're doing your side, even though it's unrelated specifically to crypto and your ambition. It ties in, and the cryptoverse will continue to take its fingers and just extend them and get their hands in everything. And before you know it, we've got a real chance to make a big difference in this world and really bring people together. But all right, Ryan, we'll let you go for now. Tell your followers I said what's up, Ryan. Where can people find you if they do want to listen and hear more about it?
Sure. So my main website is just yimbyarts.org. You can probably see it in my name. And from there, you could go on YouTube. YouTube is where most of my content is. So I just make random videos, and this interview will also be up there as well. So you can check it out there.
Bitcoin Radio, WBTC, where Bitcoin lives. We'll see you next time.